So we got that whole Vegapunk situation. Vegapunk is pretty much locked up in this little chamber with all these Cipher Pol agents. So we finally got the reveal of what happened with these Cipher Pol agents. Um, Vegapunk is also handcuffed. You know that we talked about how Shaka could be this so-called traitor, right? And maybe he's looking out for Vegapunk, but if Shaka is this traitor and he's the one who pretty much is hiding Vegapunk, he doesn't seem to be he doesn't seem like he's a friendly traitor. It don't seem like he has good intentions for Vegapunk. But
Yeah, like those things are like traitors are friendly.
you said what?
Like traitors are friendly.
They are friendly?
No, they're not.
No. Yeah. But and we also got when that Vegapunk said that information has been leaked to the world government. He was wondering like, hey, how have the research, the poneglyph research has been leaked to the world government. So like what did y'all get from this whole situation? I'll let like anybody want to go first. Anybody got any thoughts on this whole situation with Vegapunk being locked up and the poneglyph research? Ragnar, you got anything? Like what did
I
you
don't
get
want
from
to
that whole
hear other
situation?
people first.
You and a Sage? I know I'm
Um,
kind of putting you.
it's all right.
Like, what did you get
To
from the
me,
situation, if anything?
yeah, to me, it suggests that the traitor is like a long-standing element, because like they couldn't have told the world government about the poneglyph stuff if it wasn't for being there for a while.
Okay.
Like to me, that's what it suggests. Like, obviously, I could be wrong. Does
What
happen.
What do you think about like the whole research of these poneglyphs though? Like you think Vegapunk might know some stuff that because he hasn't, because this is the first time of us hearing him like doing any research on these poneglyphs.
I mean, to be fair, considering like the dialogue he gave with Saul, I think it's a fairly natural assumption. Like, how is he going to know all of the history of Ahara is like stored in Elbath and not know anything about the poneglyphs?
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah. You think he learned how to read them? I mean, it's Vegapunk. This is Vegapunk. If anybody could learn how to read poneglyphs, I would think Vegapunk could. You
You
know.
know what? That's a really good point. Is that if he was researching them, it's almost, it's almost guaranteed that he would have
Learn.
learned how to read them, which kind of makes the fate of Vegapunk more important because that gives them access to the poneglyph route,
Yeah.
like to whoever has Vegapunk,
Yeah.
not just Robin, which is what we originally assumed.
And I would think, right? Like he was doing poneglyph research. Why didn't he ask Robin anything about what she's learned? You know, like like you're doing all this research about these poneglyphs, but you have somebody who knows how to read these poneglyphs and has read a few poneglyphs as well. Like, did he just
I
not
think,
need Robin's expertise because he already has
I
things
think,
figured
I
out?
think, yeah, I think he just didn't need it. Like, I think he probably knows potentially more than Robin if he has access to Ahara, like, and he has access to all of that knowledge. There's no reason for him to need Robin.
Uh, it might be because she's coming. I don't know. Maybe because she's coming from the first half of the Grand Line, and there's probably not that much important information there,
Yeah.
and her chances of running into it was probably low.
I don't know if you guys checked out the prison that they're in. It's not actually a prison. It looks like a stasis
Like,
chamber.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's meant to keep things in, right? So whatever was in there originally, quote unquote, wasn't supposed to be out. And when you think about what Vegapunk was saying to them, he didn't say, "Oh, I didn't expect this person to be doing this." He was like, "I didn't know you guys were here," meaning he knew something was there. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but he didn't know these guys were here, right? And it's a place where he would never need to check because whatever is there is never supposed to come out anyway. And if you look at the top of the thing, it says P00, then a digit, but digit's kind of cut off.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, right, you know about PX01, PX02, and we know Stussy is the original successful clone. Remember I brought up earlier, there's a chance there was another quote unquote successful clone, but to Vegapunk, he probably had a different color, so it's a failure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What if whatever was in there is the Seraphim S Gorosei? Impossible. It could be anything. It could be literally anything, but I don't know what it is. But it's one of Vegapunk's original inventions for the clone that they probably kept on tampering with as the lab rat.
Could it be S Flamingo?
If it's S
if
Flamingo, listen to me. We're looking
there's
at
if there's
demon
anybody, if like there is any seraphim that would be a rebellious seraphim, you know, like kind
it
of
would
like
be the heavenly demon. I get what you're saying. So let's say it's a seraphim, right? It could still be a PX. It doesn't have to be a seraphim. It could still be a PX.
I mean, aren't
But
seraphim considered PXs though? They're like
yes, but they're like a separate branch. Like you don't consider Neji the same Hyuga as Hinata. You know what I'm saying? It's like separate things. Um, I think I think Q brought this up one point in the stream last time. There's a chance that the Punk Island itself, or he's still one of the seraphims as well, they continue to experiment on that seraphim, right? And then when they hit a point where they think they've done enough with that seraphim or PX, they released it. They gave it instructions like they're supposed to, but this one specifically wouldn't have the same command and authority complex like the others because it would be probably a previous generation that didn't have that thing, right? And they probably updated it where it only listens to like that specific seraphim or directly listens to the island. Similar to what Bulma did with Android 16, where it changed the programming, where it's instead of its head being filled of kill Goku, kill Goku, kill Goku. Now it's thinking of protect the Earth. Butterflies are pretty. Like it's a completely different rewriting of the system. So Vegapunk knew who captured him. He wasn't surprised that the person existed who captured him. He was more surprised that so this is where you guys are. This is the reports of the CP agents being taken. This is what happened to you guys. He was more surprised about the situation than how he got into it, right?
mm-hmm.
And I think that's indication of him knowing the culprit directly. And that chamber is literally like a prison. I remember earlier they said, keep in mind these sharks and everything on the island, the holograms, are advanced versions, right? And they still could not control the wills of those inventions. Remember this. They couldn't control the most advanced versions of their current invention's will. Maybe the previous version was something that they had no control over the will whatsoever. We're talking a Broly type character where once they get loose, it's like good luck, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a situation where one of the previous quote unquote unsuccessful clones got released or broke out and started his own planning. It could even be a failed Vegapunk. I know that's crazy, but imagine a failed Vegapunk. It could be anything.
I thought that too. Maybe like when he created the other satellites, maybe there was another satellite that was more of a problem satellite, you know. But you know, because that would make more sense because if it was a seraphim, how do a seraphim give orders
the thing is, it
to
says
other
specifically
seraphim?
P. It says P001 or P00 something.
Yeah, but
So it could be Punk.
I'm saying if it's
it could just mean Punk.
I'm saying if it's a normal seraphim though, right? Like if it's
Mhm.
or if it's a different seraphim, how does like let's say the Doflamingo seraphim, how does the Doflamingo seraphim give orders to other Seraphim when it's not in the hierarchy
Well, that's what I was
list. You
saying,
know what I'm saying?
right?
But if it's a Vegapunk, like a failed clone
He
of
could give
Vegapunk or
orders.
something, you know, it being a Vegapunk, technically, yeah, it should be able to give orders. Br, was you about to? Because I know I was about to ask you something. And
I could see it being Cheeky, the one that's behind all this,
who?
because we don't really know where he's been
Who?
for the long Cheeky.
Or Shiki?
Yeah, we don't know what he's been up to
But how would
for the past 20 years.
how would
But
Shiki get the? Go ahead.
he probably decided to. He probably went to Vegapunk's Island recently and was part of his plan. Cause he probably had to do a bunch of different things if it's a 20-year plan. So in that plan, it was probably to get Vegapunk out of the world government side.
But how would Shiki have been able to command the Seraphim though? Shiki's not in the hierarchy.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
think he's the one who kidnapped them. I'm not saying that he's ordering the Seraphim. I'm just saying he kidnapped Vegapunk and the CP agents. That's all I'm saying.
So you think
I
what?
mean, I could see him getting Vegapunk to order the Seraphim though, to work for him.
So you think he's doing all this and Vegapunk's working for him, or one of the satellites?
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I just don't know why Shiki would be this guy though. You know, like it being Shiki just seems, you know, it seems a bit of a stretch. Like Shiki comes into the story this way. You know, like
What way do you see him come into the story then?
huh? I don't
What
know if
way do
he
you
is
see
going
him?
to come into the story. I don't know.
I mean, he did say he had a 20-year plan, but he hasn't done it yet.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, could he come back? But I don't know. I'm trying to I'm trying to see like what bringing Shiki into the story would like how that would add to the story and not just make the story even more complex than it already is. You know what I'm saying? Like adding that type of variable into the story now at this. I mean, I don't know though. I'm just trying to figure out how that variable would add to, you know, where we're going in the story versus just make it even more complex. Especially if he has like a big plan. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. I'm just like what you think? Like, what do you think Shiki would bring to the story at this moment?
I mean, he would it's very possible that he will reveal himself very soon and reveal all, and kind of like how Blackbeard hid on Whitebeard's crew for so long. He could have been Shiki could have been waiting to get some very, very strong allies on his side, but he had an idea whenever the Seraphim were introduced and that Vegapunk could order them around. So it's like, oh yeah, those are good allies right there. Let me go get them. Originally, I think he was trying to just like, I don't know. He said he does have a scientist with him, so the scientist, I don't know, could have been creating things that help him fight, like mechanical allies or something. But then he had an idea with the Seraphim.
Yeah, I don't know,
and
man.
he could be an enemy of the Straw Hats at some very very soon, and he wants to show the world who a real pirate is, and having like Selpham on his side, that will be very very tough to beat, and his bounty will skyrocket.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't see the clues for Shiki, but it's possible. It's possible. I don't want to say it's impossible, but I just don't see the clues of Shiki showing up, like, dealing with Vegapunk. But did you want to say something, Sage?
No, I just got the sniffles.
What about Angel? Because I seen Angel unmuted.
I wanna go back to the whole trader thing.
Go ahead. That's what we talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to say I think the trader is either something Vegapunk and the Stella and the other Vegapunks were working on, or it's another Vegapunk that I guess possibly failed. And the reason why I think of this is because the way Pythagoras talks about what he saw or who he saw, and when he says when he says they made a miscalculation, it makes me think like maybe they just thought whatever they were trying to create didn't work, or that whatever or the other Vegapunk that Vegapunk created didn't work.
Okay. I got something though. What if it's Punk Records in general, right? Like, what if Punk Records is kind of acting independently at this point from Vegapunk? I mean, could Punk Records create a Seraphim of his own? To physically be in the world. You know, I think we talked about that before, but yeah.
I don't know.
I've heard it as an
Last week I
idea. I
think we talked
think,
about. Go ahead, Sage.
yeah, I've heard it as an idea. I think, like, putting some stuff together, the only way it makes sense to me is if Punk Records, having a level of sentience, then realizes that it's about to be abandoned and it's kind of acting in a survival.
Yeah.
So it's being told, the real Vegapunk must survive. And it's kind of sentient enough to understand that it exists. And it's like, well, shouldn't I survive? Because surely at some point it's got to be natural for one of these satellites to self-preserve.
Mm-hmm.
So if it works with a failed experiment to, ensure its own safety, that kind of makes vague sense to me.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me as well, because like it's like we know Oda takes a lot of influence from like movies, other literature, and everything. So and one thing that we see a lot is like, especially in like a lot of 90s movies, like a lot of older 90s movies like The Matrix, Terminator, is like AI growing so or evolving so far to where it almost becomes independent and self-sustaining itself, to where it could decide to do things. Like, it could be like, you know what, I want to protect humans. Like let's say I want to protect humans, but humans are a danger to themselves. So I have to, in order for me to protect humans, I have to subjugate humans and make them do what I deem as safe for them. You know what I mean? So maybe Punk Records see like what the real Vegapunk is doing, like what the real Vegapunk does, as more of a danger to all the Vegapunks, or maybe it sees itself as the Vegapunk. I don't know, but y'all got anything else
Well,
with the? Or
it
go ahead,
could be a
Greg.
situation where, like I said earlier, it could have been a failed punk, but it's still the island, right? But instead of making another failed punk, it installed itself into that failed punk. It could have been a whole thing, because you know how it says they have to install they have to like give all their memories to the database at the end
Once
of the
a
day.
day, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That one doesn't have. If that is a failed punk, that one would not have to because it's locked away. But if right, the actual island database is sentient in itself, it could transfer all its knowledge that it receives to the other failed one. And at that point, even if it's physically not up to par with the Shaka or a Lilith or a York, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be superior to all of them combined because they're still individuals. They would
Yeah.
have to work together collectively and share the information verbally and hope the other one understands it on the same level they do, which is not a guarantee because they're all specialists in their own different fields, right? But
Mm.
the database is not a specialist in every field. It's the ace of every field, right? And let's say that ace, let's say you had a team of people playing poker. One person has a bunch of jacks, the other person has a bunch of queens, the other person has a bunch of kings, the other person has a bunch of tens. The database would have nothing but a handful of aces. And imagine you gave those aces to a seraphim level body for Vegapunk. That's what we're looking at here, potentially, right? The Terminator. I know that's crazy, but imagine you had a seraphim body, but Vegapunk's mind, and it's set, and I mean absolutely set on getting rid of all the other copies of itself or all the other potential risk to its existence, which would be the Vegapunks, which
Yeah.
would be the Straw Hats, which would be the world government. It could be the
CP0.
the
They there for it.
P00 exactly. Punk 00. It could be anything. I don't know if this is a confirmed thing, but if that is the case, we're looking at something beyond what One Piece world should have. We're looking at what Vegapunk called the ultimate soldiers, as well as the ultimate mind in one being.
Yeah. I mean, bro, he got the intelligence of Vegapunk and the strength of a seraphim, you know. Or he would be a seraphim with the strength of Vegapunk, you know, if Vegapunk like cloned himself into a seraphim, or I'm trying to think because we don't know the possibilities of what like the other clones that Vegapunk created, so we don't know who he might have in the tuck, you know, like he could have Goldie Roger or something, you know, like I don't know, like it'd be like Vegapunk's sentience or his essence in like a Roger seraphim or something like that'd be, or like a Whitebeard seraphim, that'd be wild.
Yeah, just to bring up something that was brought up in the chat. Chris said it could be Punk Records detecting Saturn. I doubt it's Saturn, but it was said in this chapter that 100 ships were approaching Egghead,
Mm-hmm.
and we certainly seem to have information that suggests that the system is able to detect like nearby life, not just life that's directly on the island. So, and we know the sea beasts are working with it, so they're going to detect things and act as scouts for it. So if that's true, then like right now, Punk Records is aware that like 100 ships are approaching Egghead. Some of them are going to be warships. They're all different sizes. Like it's going to understand. It's not, it's going to put two and two together and work out what's coming. So like if it is a self-preservation thing, and it's like cutting off as much as possible inside to kind of keep itself safe, then like to me like it would be it's working with either a seraphim or a failed satellite, but to me it's more likely to be a seraphim because it's got an order. It can order, maybe it comes up as a hologram or something and that's recognized as enough, but like there has to be something that orders the seraphim to do stuff. And
Yeah.
that's the whole. It could be both. It could be that there's a failure of both, and that Vegapunk hasn't let these things out because there are two different containers. Vegapunk's in one level of containment, but the agents are in another.
Yeah. So you think it could be like maybe another seraphim, like two different ones as well, like two
More
Seraphim.
likely, no, more likely there'd be one Seraphim and one failed satellite, because like the satellite would have the authority over the Seraphims,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the satellite, the Seraphim wouldn't have authority. So something has to have authority.
yeah. Yeah, I was kind of thinking like if it was a Seraphim, maybe Punk Records put itself into the Seraphim, and then it could override through by proxy through the Seraphim. But yeah, it could be like two. It could be like a failed the failed satellite, you know, getting revenge, getting his revenge for
I
the
I
other
mean, yeah,
satellite.
it could be a level of vengeance. I'm not sure if it'll go that direction because I agree with something that Kush has just said. Um, Oda might do a thing where it's sad to shut punk records down, like it could have saved the world, but not the right way or something. And I agree with that concept of like, you know, the we realize that punk records has true sentience, that it has the sentience level of a living being, and we have this theme already set up in the arc discussing sentience with Kuma and discussing sentience with the pacifista, and where do you draw the line, what defines humanity, and we have that kind of topic already in Egghead. So to finalize the arc by saying like, does this artificial intelligence, or really offshoot of Vegapunk's brain, is that enough to be called a human? Like, because Punk Records isn't
Well,
just
sage statement.
data, it's actually the brain.
Mm,
I
was you?
have a habit of that.
Yeah. What was you saying, Ragnar? You saying something?
I was saying right now, Sage is spitting because I'm right there with her. Like, we running towards the finish line,
Yeah.
and she like 0.11 ahead of me, man. Like, she
By a
right there.
hair.
She right there.
By a hair. Then it says I
I am
agree.
Seabiscuit.
Then it says I agree with you both Rag and Sage. Oda might do something where it'll be sad to shut Punk Records down. Like it could save the world, but not the right way or something. Yeah, that maybe Punk Records is just acting out, right? Like maybe it's just acting out because it don't want to. It feels though it's end coming, so it's just acting out. But yeah. Anything about the poneglyphs? Anybody got any idea about the poneglyph research? Or anything to add
Well, I
about the
could say something about that. When Roger got to Laughdale, he never said he saw all the poneglyphs. Actually made it clear he only saw some of the poneglyphs. He saw all the road poneglyphs, but real poneglyphs, like he said, were something he only saw some of. So he didn't see all of them. So there are other poneglyphs scattered outside the Grand Line, and even given to other kingdoms to be hidden other places. It could be embedded into the structures of other places, like we've seen theories of that one poneglyph in Impel Down. So unless Roger was ever brought to Impel Down, he would have never seen, if that's a poneglyph, that poneglyph, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there could be other situation where that's the case. I'm pretty sure Robin has seen some poneglyphs that Roger just has never seen. But also, the Clover researchers, when they sent them out, they were going on individual journeys separate from Roger to look for poneglyphs, which says to me it's a world level event. Like, imagine you're playing a game, but there's multiple routes on the map, and on every map, on every route, there are poneglyphs you could find. But not every poneglyph is necessary. It's just like side quests,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Roger did find a lot, but he didn't find everything. So Clover also probably found a lot, but there's no saying he found everything.
Yeah. I mean, if he's sending a lot of people, maybe each of them did find. Maybe they found most of them, but I don't know. But if they was able to get rubbings of all these poneglyphs, that could be like maybe it was in the library, of course. It would have been in the library, which Vegapunk had access to that library. So, and if he could read the poneglyphs, like it just like learning that he was researching poneglyphs, but yet he never asked Robin anything about poneglyphs. It just made me think like he must have known how to read them, or either that, or he had like translations of them. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe the people at O'Hara translated some of the poneglyphs that they found, and he had the translation. Like maybe they wrote them down in the book, so maybe he like was able to translate it that way. So again, that would curve the need to have Robin tell him what she got from the poneglyphs, because he probably got most of the information on all the poneglyphs. So that that makes sense.